Hello folks, welcome to Saving Miller. Well, I have to do an update on this because I want people to know about this and be aware of it. So, I did a video, an HPR video, about this fence charger and how much I liked it, and the fact that we have 3 of them, and I said this is the one to go with, as opposed to the other one that I had, which was from Tractor Supply. Well, I've got to do an update. So, over the past 2 weeks or so, I was having trouble with the goats. They just kept going through the fence, and that's kind of unlike them because they were respecting it, like they weren't touching it. And so I investigated, and sure enough, their charger was not working. Well, I was having the same problem with the steers. So we have 2 steers, and they're fairly new. We've only had them for about a month. And so they're not that well trained, and I was losing control of them. So they weren't respecting fences. They were going underneath them, walking through them, and I just completely lost control of them by rotational grazing. And so they were going where they wanted. So I checked that one, and that one wasn't working. Basically, what I discovered is that on this unit, the light was blinking, but I was getting no output on the terminals here. So there's no voltage there to create the pulse to electrify the fence. And so, as I mentioned, I have 3 of them. I got the first one in April of 2019 when we got our first cow. So I've had that one for about 2 years. These 2, I bought one of them, these are not precise dates, but to the best of my memory, around January, and the second one around April. So we had 3 of them. The reason we had 3 is because we wanted one for the chickens, one for the goats, and one for the cows. And so they were working fine until the last couple of weeks. And so I didn't know what to do. I was quite upset. So I brought them in here and actually opened up this part. I checked the battery. The battery had 12.6, 12.7 volts. It was good to go. So I don't recall exactly what the warranty is on these. I don't know if it's 1 year or 3 years or whatever. But anyway, I decided, well, I should call Premier One and just see if maybe they have replacement parts or something. And I was very, very impressed. They answered fairly quickly, and then they had a procedure to walk through to basically pull these cards out. And so basically we determined that there's something wrong with these. And with this one, let's get it a little closer. With this one you can see, there, you can see that transformer overheated and melted the insulation. So here's what that thing looks like, just different components on there. It's the only damage I could find on this one. So not sure why that happened, but I gave them a call, and so they said they would send me 2 replacements. And both of them were doing a little bit different things, but they both had the same problem. And so I just got the replacement, so let's open that up and see what it looks like. Okay, so I think I talked to them on Wednesday, and so in this package we've got 2 new ones. So we're going to put these in. I'll kind of show you how they go together. That way, if you have a similar problem in the future, you'll kind of know what to do. So I've not really done this before, so let's get into it. Okay, so this is the Intellishock 60. I didn't take the solar panel off, but this one's got this battery in it. If you get the Intellishock 120, I believe it's the same unit, basically. It just has a bigger battery in here. And so we've got connectors for the battery. We've got some connectors on the inside, and we've got the connectors here for the solar panel to charge it. We also, let me get this in here. We also have a transformer right here. So this is another potential failure item. Both of these transformers look fine. They don't have any bulges or cracks or burn marks. So we're going to put the board in and see what happens. Now these are electronic components, and so I'm going to try to not touch them. They've got a special bag to avoid static discharge. We'll have to touch them just a little bit to get them out of here. This part is for the button, and so to secure it, just goes into place here. And push on it. Okay, so the button is hooked up. It just sits in place. It's actually not secured really well, but I don't think it really needs to be either. It works just fine the way it is. Okay, now these wires, these 4 wires here, go on the button, and so I made the foolish mistake of pulling them off of both of these, so I don't know where these go. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, let's start with the 2 smaller wires that come from the transformer here. So these 2 go onto 2 little contacts in here. The white goes on the side away from the button. And I'm going to use a small pliers to push that down. Okay, so the white wire goes there, and the black wire goes over here on this side. I don't want to stick my fingers in there. Contact's a little hard to get to. The other black one goes here. Now these 2 wires, this black one and the red one, come from the charging port. Okay, so let's see. There you can see the completed wires, how they're set up. So now this thing will sit in there, little blue tabs, and that's it. It's really quite simple. Now this thing goes back on here, and then it simply presses in there like that. There. So now the top is enclosed again, and we need to connect the other wires. Now thankfully they've got a wiring diagram here for this part of it, so you can follow that. So that's what I'm going to do. This of course is to the solar panel, so we're going to put those in there. Let's see, they labeled the black as negative and the red as positive, so we're going to put the red one over on this side. And same thing here, these are insulated, so that's a good thing, but potentially, because it is a solar panel, there's energy there, so we don't want to be touching these together or touching them with our fingers. Okay, except for the plastic. Now, the last one to connect is the wires for the battery. Same thing, they labeled them. So I really like that. I mean, a lot of times you'll get stuff like this and it's not labeled, and you kind of have to guess or test or something. The negative here actually has a little bit of the wire connector peeking out the top, and since it's coming from the battery, there's definitely energy there. And then, so this one, partly because of tight quarters, get that in there. Definitely have to be gentle though. These boards are not real robust. Okay, so we've got that on. Get you in there for a closer look. Battery wires on this side and the solar panel wires on this side. Okay, so it's complete. Let's turn this thing on and see what happens. Okay, we get the green flash like we should. So the next test is to test the output. So we're going to turn that off, we're going to set this one aside, and we're going to do this for the other one. Now the very nice lady on the phone did tell me that before I put this orange piece back on, I really need to test this and make sure that it works. And so we're going to go ahead and do that so we don't have to pull it apart again. So we've got the black or the negative going on this one. And the red one on this one. Okay, so everything's hooked up, should work. So we're getting a nice green flash. We do have some red in there as well, so it flashes green and then red, and that indicates that the battery potentially is a bit low. So let's check our output on this one. A little risky with this high voltage. Okay, excellent. So even without a ground, we're getting a full 8,000. And, like I said, the battery's low. So we'll set this one in the sun for a while so it can charge back up. Okay, so that one is working. It just needs to get out there in the sun and charge up, and it should be good to go. So this orange thing is just held on with kind of a pressure fit. The best way to do it is actually go on the hinge side with a small screwdriver. Just kind of pry it in there. And then this side sort of pops out. And I'm leaving the wires on here on purpose. After messing around with this thing, I am still not getting any outputs. So we're going to have to do further diagnosis. So the board appears to be okay. It's, you know, if we turn it on, we get a nice green flash, which indicates that the board is saying that the battery is fine. So let's check the battery. Okay, so we've got 12.89 volts on the battery. So let's see. Come over here. Come to our outputs. These are not insulated. And so we'll check these. Okay, so I'm going on the two outputs from the board. Not getting good contact here. Because of how this thing is set up, I'm not sure exactly what it should be because there are little transformers and things on the board. So if we come over and check the output terminals, let's see if we get anything there. And neither is that one. The only other way I could test this is by actually touching it or having an animal touch it, but that doesn't seem prudent. I can't see any issues with the transformer. It's secure in there. The wires are fine. I just don't see any problems with it. So we're going to have to maybe give them a call and see if there's further diagnosis that could be done. So I definitely got the other one working. This one still no output, so we'll have to investigate this a little bit further and see if we can figure out what the issue is. I am happy to have some customer support for it, but you know, these are, you know, pretty expensive. What are they, $250? So you know, they should last for a long time for that cost. So we'll see what we can figure out with this one. Till then, 7 Miller out.